Ta-da! So, it is done. 3D printed. It goes in. And it spins. It doesn't spin too freely though. I have noticed a couple things. So I sanded this down. I did 80 grit, 120, 1500, 3000. But you can still see, let's see, where is it? So it's got these little bumps here. Not so pronounced right here. What this is this is where the 3D printer starts to layer. So I may sand that down a bit. And I don't know if you can see, but in here, you've got the same thing. And again, I can't tell if you can see it on the camera, but this is a little shinier than right here. So I can feel there's a slight bump. So I need to work here a little bit, and I bet if I work and sand that down a little more, if I go back to 80, 120, then the 1500 and 3000, I bet that'll get smooth, and I bet that will free spin. Because I mean, there's parts, and you can see sometimes it gets stuck, but sometimes it goes through. So if I got some lapping compound too, I could do that. So there is that. And we can look at here, this is the bottom cap that would go underneath. So I'm going to sand this down a bit. And the same thing. Now I'm not making a bearing plate because this is just a prototype, so all I need to do is just move. But if I wanted to, I mean, that's a pretty snug fit. Now I got the, excuse the squeaky noise. I have not sanded the rotor stem yet. And you can kind of hear it. And so it doesn't spin freely, but here, sorry. So if I sand this down just a smidge, it'd probably be okay. I've got an older rotor from a previous attempt. You can see it's a lot bigger, but so that fits. This was a redo of what I had originally done. I didn't like some of the dimensions, and I actually did not do my math right, because apparently if you want a casing that is 42 millimeters wide, you can't have a rotor that is 42 millimeters wide. So whoops. Now let's look at the porting here. If I center this up just so, you can see how it doesn't line up. So I did not get this right on this attempt. If you look at the shape difference, you can see the circle on this port kind of starts to go over, whereas this one kind of just slips through. And so that's a mistake. I need to just adjust this so it cuts in a little bit more and curves in. If you look, let's see if I can look in the camera. If you look, and you can see how that lines up pretty well, and you cannot really see one or the other. So this is the right shape, the right size. So I maybe do another rotor. I think it'll be is going to be the what I'm going to need to do, and kind of cut into that. Now let's talk about these. So I had threaded this in order to make this easier to go on. However, apparently if you thread this, you also have to thread this. Apparently I did not click the right setting on the model, so it threaded it, but then it was like, nah, we're not going to model it. So I can't screw that on. So right now, I don't know if you can hear in the background, but the printer is going again in order to print ones that are actually threaded. And I look over there, it's not that point yet where you can see the threading. So I've got maybe an hour left on that print. So it should be done tonight. But if we kind of, let's see, there's a part, so okay, there we go. So I flip it, got one side taller than the other, so it will kind of stick out. So if you look, I mean, it kind of works. Again, I gotta sand this part, and I'm gonna sand down here. That's kind of cool. So hopefully I did my math right. Sorry. And the new bottom caps, which I'm just throwing everywhere, will have the threads this time. I clicked the right button on the model. It should. I think it'll be fine. It should have it. I also note here, this is not a wide enough angle. I guess if I was to put the rubber in there and then cut it flush, it would be okay. But really, I need to have a wider angle to accommodate any sort of rotor bumper there. But again, this is just a prototype. This is really just to put together, and I'm gonna have the tubes come out of here. I'm gonna have it work on my instrument. I'm gonna print out some more tubes and everything, so I can just kind of prototype it before, you know, spending money and going, oh, it's not gonna work, and then just be out of luck. I'd rather prototype this on pennies for $1, see if it works, kind of play a little bit of it, find the right position, see how many braces I need to buy and everything like that, and then go from there. So this is kind of a prototyping tool. It's not to replace a real rotor, because I mean, you can still see just some layer lines. Who knows how disgusting that's going to get. Plus, I'm never going to get that really smooth unless I just sit there and sand it out. So it's really not going to be the best. But cool. I printed a rotor. It's awesome.